So really kind of unique practice. All right, we sixth practice, wanted to do a half scrimmage. Ended up having some weather issues, a lightning delay, but those kids still got a lot of quality work in. Mixed and matching a lot of different things. You know, we had some slot receivers that were out, which we were forcing, tight ends to play receiver, and we had a lot of busted assignments and missed some mistakes out there that are expected when you put those kids in those situations. But defense had a lot of juice out there today. I think they responded from the Thursday practice, and we've talked about being competitive in here multiple times, and I think that's where we're getting. I think if you look at how these practices have been going, you could, if you wanted to pick sides, it's getting pretty balanced because if the offense has a good day, the defense responds, and then vice versa. So would love to see watch the tape. I put the offense in some pretty tough situations today, but it's going to be good for everybody. We're getting a lot of quality evaluations. We're tinkering with a lot of schemes out there, which I think is pretty beneficial and it's fun for everybody. But you look out there and the defense was making plays across the board. Offense was pretty sloppy with drops and fumbles and interceptions and just pre-snap penalties and we were moving them backwards a lot and it was tough to overcome. So. But you look at the defense and the plays that they're making, you got to be pleased with what they're doing, and pretty excited for them. But today we got Coach Turner speaking, talking about the O-line and just what he brings to the table, and it'll be a good interview. The first time he's been in front of you guys, and then we got the whole O-line group. So I think you're gonna have some pretty fascinating conversations with these guys because they're probably the most interesting group on the team. So questions, we'll go from there.
With Coach Turner coming in his first year, what is one thing that he looked at this offensive line and says, this is what we need to do better?
There's a lot, and that he's never going to come in and critique the previous, coach. He's very professional in what he does, and he comes in and we have a lot of good dialogue and kind of see where the offense is, and he studies what we've done in the past, and he tries to mirror what we need, and a lot of it's trial and error. And we're putting in new schemes right now, and I know he's going to come back and be like, this is what we got to do to create better timing and help us out. So it's not much of him critiquing the previous coaches or what we've done in the past. It's more about how he can make it better here right now. And he's one of the best in the business at it. He's still figuring me out. He's still figuring the O-line out. He's pretty quiet at times in the meeting rooms where he just wants to observe and have an understanding on what I want, and he's going to go out there and try to block it up and do that to the best of his ability. But I do see a discipline and a continuity with this O-line group that we haven't had here. I think that he's gelling these guys pretty well, and I think that's very important. And any O-line coach in general, that's one of the hardest jobs in football is to get five guys to think and communicate and step alike. It's very difficult to do, and he's one of the best to do it.
With more on Coach Turner, he seems like he's kind of a tough coach. Like he comes in and more so than anyone else on staff. Have you noticed that from him? Is he I see some of the stuff on Twitter from Coach Hamilton too about some of these off-season workouts they've been doing. Has he brought a toughness to that room?
Yeah, and he's always been big on that. You got to be tough to play this game, especially at that position. And he motivates them and he gets them going. And the kids actually love him because he's hard on them and they want to be coached. And that's a sign too of what type of player you got. Is that they want to be coached hard. They want to be coached by the best. And there's nothing ever personal with him. He's going to bring an edge and a demeanor, and he's going to say exactly what he thinks and feels, and those kids have responded in a very good way with him.
Some of the new faces out there like Liam Dobson. What have they brought to the room? They've obviously got some experience transferring in, but what are they like?
Yeah, he's the best. You guys are going to love that interview here in a little bit, but he comes in right away and he just fits right in. That's kind of difficult too. With newcomers, they kind of are shy and quiet at the beginning. They try to figure things out, and he's just got a great, personality, a great spirit about himself, that he's going to just come right in and then fit right along with everybody in that room. Now he is an FCS All-American, and he's a very talented guy, and he's played a lot of football, and he came in at like almost 380 pounds, and he's kind of moved it down to around 350, 360, and a good weight, and he's a force to be reckoned with. He's very smooth with what he does. And when he gets to the point of attack, it's tough to get around him, and he can. You're not going to bull rush that guy very often, to put it that way. But Liam, just love where he's at. He's a just a normal guy. He just does what is told, and eventually he's worked himself. Right now, he's been running with the ones since practice 2, and he's been doing such a great job right now.
How much of a challenge was it for Liam being up in Maine and being up in Canada and trying to like show him like what Texas State, like especially how this facility is like, but then add on top of that having to deal with a pandemic and your only communication is through Zoom and being so far away, was how much of a challenge was that?
Yeah, it's an interesting time. Like FCS, there was a lot of unknown if they're going to play or not. And he was an FCS All-American, so he knew that he could at least go to FBS and then give it a shot. There's a lot of schools that were recruiting him, and he just kind of meshed well with us. He wanted to be in the South. He wanted to come down south and kind of get away from the cold a little bit. But he took that chance and took that risk, just to come and do it. Now, if we had many discussions that if things didn't work out, then he had entered the draft, because he is a draft eligible guy, and there was a lot of people that were interested in him, and he is also a Canadian, so the CFL is, he probably would have been drafted pretty high in the CFL if he entered that draft. So he kind of had some good options regardless of what happened. But I'm very fortunate and glad that he came to Texas State.
Does he have 1 or 2 years eligibility?
He's got 1. And that was one of the reasons why, he, if nothing worked out in that FBS level, then he just entered the draft.
Some of the other guys I'm sure we're going to talk to, Dalton Cooper, Tate Heitmeyer today, I think they're on the list.
Yeah, but, I think you got Eddie. I don't know if Dalton's going today, but Eddie will go. There'll be a good mix of them. But.
How important have they been for kind of bringing these guys along, these new guys, Liam?
Yeah, the one that I've been probably the most impressed with so far is Eddie Rivas. I think Eddie, he's a quiet kid, been consistent at left guard for a long time for us. But we've been having some injuries here and there, and we're pulling guys out and experimenting with different positions, and we've moved him to tackle and guard, and he can play all 4 positions and do it at a high level. I think just where he's at is going to be a tremendous help to us. I love the demeanor of him, and he's a quiet guy, and you'll understand that when you talk to him. And he's been doing a really good job for us, and really fired up for him. But Dalton Cooper, he's been kind of nursing an injury right now, so we've been kind of holding him out because we can at this point, but he should be back in action here pretty soon. But Dalton had a really good off season and is getting to a point where he's going to be a pretty good left tackle. He was already earning those freshman All-American status, in some of those PFF sites and things of that nature. But Dalton is, he's coming along daily. He's still young. He's still got 4 years of eligibility to play. Which is crazy, and he's already earned All-American status from some of these sites, which is pretty impressive. But Tate Heitmeyer, he's doing a great job too. He is consistent as you can be at right guard. Gotta love that kid and his story and his work ethic, and he got a ton of team captain votes last year, and he's really taken a great approach to this because he wants to win, and he's known that the O-line needs to increase their play, and he's really taken a leadership side of things in that room, and just kind of love where he's at. And you have Russell Baker as well, who Russell is started a lot of games for us at right guard and right tackle last year, and we're playing him at center. We played him at guard today. He does whatever we ask him to do. He's doing a remarkable job for us, in terms of consistency. So you got to feel pretty confident though of if a guy goes down and gets hurt, you got a lot of different bodies to move around. You got Silas Robinson in that mix too. Silas is he's been wanting to play for a long time, sitting out after he transferred in from Arkansas. He's having fun. We're playing him at center. He's playing at guard some days too. So you really like where that whole room's kind of going right now, and they're probably one of my more fun rooms to go into because they're always cracking jokes, and they always have a good demeanor about themselves. But I think with the addition of Coach Turner and just kind of their personality, from him taking over, is just going to help out a lot around here.
You mentioned 15 spots left in recruiting. Offensive line going to be? Are you looking to fill in some more there?
Yeah, we'll bring in 3 more. And it's really going to be the best available type deal. We're allowing Coach Turner to go through spring to see any needs that we need to address. If we need an immediate fix, if not, we'll get some developmental guys and bring them in.
How much does having the deadline for that 2021 class being on August 1st, how much does that change everything, especially towards like previous years during recruiting, knowing like, well, you can still recruit these guys, and then also there's a bunch of FCS players, like they're still having their spring schedule that you could potentially like add into the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's you kind of just take it a day at a time. We've got 15 spots, which is very unique for this time, but I think this is unique times anyways. And it's pretty much like we're more appealing now than what we've ever been, strictly based off of the numbers of 15 scholarships and how this pandemic has affected numbers across the entire country. But thing is we're patient with it, and we got a lot of time, and we've always filled our roster late. I've done that at every school I've been at. We've always, at West Virginia, we always saved around 5 to 7 scholarships late for transfer guys. That's kind of been a theme. Like, if you look at like college basketball, like majority of their rosters are transfer guys. And that's kind of where the game is going towards football now. But not saying that there's a right or wrong way to do this. We just can be patient in what we are, and we're trying to get the best player to come in to help Texas State. And I think it's like I've said, a unique time, and we can definitely take advantage of this opportunity and really improve our roster.